Oh, okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Give us just a couple of minutes to share the link. I hope everyone is doing well. This is the link.
I can ping people, right, for this?
I already pinged on Discord. We need a tweet.
I'm on it.
In the Discord, did you tell them to pose their questions? And no, okay. So I'm gonna
We can
double.
tell
I'm
them
gonna
here.
double ping. That's okay.
So this is good. We have okay. We have people live, and we have Aero Creator. Hi, Aero Creator. Hi, Agus. Hi, Liz. Hi, Joe Boy. Thank you for tuning in. We are finally back. Let's wait for just a couple more minutes, and then we can start immediately after. Yeah, thanks, Agus. It's early for some. It's part of the almost golden hours of the day when almost everyone is kind of around at an almost acceptable time of the day, except for Australia, I guess, which is a shame.
But the Pacific Ocean is asleep.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that also includes, I say, yeah, Asia Pacific. You're right. Yeah, thanks for the support, Cosmos. You've recently been active about Ecoin, and we appreciate that. So we have an interesting town hall today. We have 16 viewers. So we start in a minute. So at the 10-minute mark. Okay. Let us know, Cosmos, if you ever need any help on details or on what's going on. If you need to catch up on what we're doing, we have the town halls as well as a reference. But we appreciate that. So we should be good to go. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Town Hall number 14. We had a pretty active few weeks. First of all, loading up to the release, which we talk about a little bit after. Plus CNFTCon, there's been a lot of travel. Unfortunately, some team members, including both Marek and Nick, got COVID and are recovering now. And it's just been a really, really busy few weeks. And work has not really stopped since. So we're here to share a few updates on what's been going on. We did a live town hall earlier and from ZNFTCon, and now this is one to kind of follow up on the release and what's going on post-release. So this is basically the summary, or let's say post-mortem of the public beta that started and is still ongoing. We have not yet done the formal release of the stables, considering the number of bugs and still yet, let's say, features that have not been released yet. So we'll cover that in a bit more detail. First of all, with regards to 3D art, with the stable art for the most part done, except for a few small tweaks here and there. And all our models also have been optimized and rigged and animated already for our new engine. We've basically transitioned most of our 3D artists to work on props, on 3D models, and props for the environment for the racetracks, as that will be another big deliverable later on. We've already had some team members that were working on that, but now we've diverted also some of that. We're also working on some other forms of content just to kind of be a little bit, let's say, proactive on the 3D art side. And we have the team members, and they kind of already have a bit of momentum going on with the models. So we're creating basically some content that we will need eventually down the road. We're making some seasonal skins, for example, and maybe we'll share some previews of those, but they'll be for when they're ready. They might not be for immediate release. So we'll let you know a bit more on that, but that's also being worked on right now from the 3D art team. From the dev side of things, Nick, if you can give us a bit of an overview.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, basically we've got the blockchain part. The guys are working on our indexer. I gave a quick explanation of it in the beta information channel. Basically, we wanted a way to update your horses sometimes multiple times a day, right? Without always having to use the technique of minting and burning a second copy of your NFT, because that's annoying. And also the fees are high and it's not very efficient. Let's say you want to change only one field of a horse. Let's say daily races remaining is 5 and you want to take it to 4. You don't want to be minting and burning the whole horse just for that, and then sending the whole info on the blockchain again and again. So we made our own protocol which allows for information to be posted on chain, but only for the difference of what you want to update. Basically, it's just our way of updating the fields, but hopefully the protocol is, the way we're designing it, it's general enough that it can be given, let's say, to other projects. We're going to be making that code open source because we want people to technically, at least, I don't know if people will do that, but at least technically be able to run their own indexer and come up with the same results that we do, to make sure we all have the same base truth for the state of the equine NFTs and the live metadata. So we're going to be providing, of course, an easy way to see your live horse metadata, but also anybody technical could just spin up the code and run it on a Cardano node and get the same state. So see the same truth of the horses. And then technically other projects could just modify the configuration of this code a bit and then use the same protocol for their game. If they need volatile metadata that could change quickly, either multiple times a day, an hour, as quickly as every 30 seconds, basically, every time there's a block. So technically, you could do that. This technology we made without using smart contract for now. I would like smart contract technology to mature a bit before we do any violent migration of like all our NFTs to a smart contract scheme. I don't want to do that before it's been battle tested and it's been used and it's been fought over, debated, argued, and fixed and made better. And when smart contracts are at that level for an NFT SIP, maybe it'll be SIP 68 of Alessandro Berry after a few months of going through like the fire. Maybe it'll be something else. We might move to another scheme which involves smart contract. But for now, we tried to keep a lightweight protocol that's still secure, but that's not using smart contract. So it's us that will be posting updates to your horses the same way that we would have done if we'd been burning and minting your horses over and over again. So it's still Ecoin that has control of all of that, but it's more lightweight, a lot more lightweight. So we already have a few projects that have approached us to get the code. Code is not done yet. When it is, it'll be open source, and we might have a few projects that use it also to keep their data on chain. So that's the main part for the blockchain, the next step for the blockchain that will be used for everything. So to name your horses, to name your guild, and then later for your training, for your horse life stats when it gets older, when it finally passes. All the race stats, the race earnings, everything will be kept on a live metadata like this. Can you give an example of an update to a horse? Yes. The simplest would be just setting its daily race from 5 to 4 because it just raced, right? So when it enters a race, its daily race goes from 5 to 4 to 3 to 1 to 0. And well, I skipped 2, and then you cannot race anymore for the day. And then at the end of the day, I'll be updating every horse back to 5, right? So I don't want to be burning and minting your NFT every time that happens. So that'll be the most trivial, but the most frequent update that your horse sees, right? So that's got to be efficient for us to be minting, to be updating all the horses, pretty much, or a lot of the horses every day, multiple times a day. But something else would be at the start of the month, all the horses age. So you want to take their age up 1 year, but you want to also change their stats. You want to put in the training. You want to give if one mare has had a foal, you want to write that in her progeny, saying she just had a new baby, so you put that in her stats. You want to creating the baby, of course, is creating an NFT. There's no way around it. So foals will always be a minting operation, but a lot of the metadata updates will be done in that using this protocol that we've created. Okay, then apart from that, you guys have seen that there's been deployment issues on the beta. Basically, a lot of the things that when you do it locally on your own computer, you never have that problem. But when you deploy it on the field, it becomes on servers, and then servers have specific ways of talking to each other. And my team, my DevOps team, and myself had not seen that error on our own machines. So the cores error that a lot of you guys are getting, I'm simply not getting on my machine, which is really annoying. But it's also very typical of developers, where the problem only happens to clients and never happens to yourself. So we were very sorry that we launched and a lot of you had that issue. Now it cropped up again, and I fixed it this morning. Please, if you guys had the cores error, you can probably try to log in again. I've had Marek and Fahad try it. I tried it. I VPN into like Malaysia and other countries in Europe to try it. It doesn't seem to break, or like it doesn't break at my desk. So if one of you can break it, that's good. Just break it and report it again, that we can try to find a better, like normally it's fixed right now. So please try it again. I also logged in with Nami and Eternal. It works. Like, I see my stable. I've got only 3 horses in the equine test wallet, but and I've got a really good computer. So I know some of you guys with laptops or computers that are less powerful are getting a bit of issues connecting or loading the 3D scene, at least. We know about that. Our 3D guy has taken some time off for personal reasons, but he's going to come back on Monday, and all he's going to be working on is optimizing the 3D scene so that it's less big to load, and also that it caches, so that the second time you'd be loading the 3D scene, it'd be very quick because it'd come directly from your disk. So that's something we know about and we're trying to optimize. And then the configurator is the next feature for the 3D part. So technically you should be able to click configurator in the coming weeks and just look at your skins and be able to equip skins for your horse and equip a jockey and jockey skins. So all of that is what's coming for development. Of course, I've told my team to focus, and I'm focusing on fixing the beta, right? Addressing all the bugs that you've been reporting, making sure this gets released. This gets to a releasable state as soon as possible, and that's basically it. So we're not focusing too much on the next release yet. We want to get this one fixed, and then we're going to focus on social and guild.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for the overview. I'm going to actually go into a little bit of sharing my screen with the tables, but first and foremost about the tables launch public beta we've done so far. We realize it's been pretty rocky. We thank you all for your participation and also for your patience. Your feedback is very helpful. We cannot otherwise test a lot of scenarios. So I will share my screen actually over here just to show you. If you'll give me a second, please. I'll be
I'll be taking a question from the Discord in the meantime.
yeah,
so-
I apologize. I'm back. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I would have taken a question quickly right before. People are asking, up to what age can horses breed? Will it stop at, say, 15? For now, we didn't put a limit on the old age, basically, so they can breed all the way up to 18, right before they pass.
Yep.
Right.
So this is our newly launched website. We realized that there are a bunch of missing things, for example, and I'm sharing them just to let you know that we are aware, and these things will be added back in. So in our earlier website, we had a direct link to our white paper, so we'll be having that brought back in. Obviously, that's required, as well as info about the team, etc. So we used to have a connect wallet button, which is confusing here. That was not working, so for now, this is not here anymore. We enter the app from here or from this tables section, and then we get the connect wallet button. So I'm gonna connect my Eternal. It shows a small prompt here saying fetching the wallet. I got a small pop-up where I am signing in now. So it's connecting. It's connecting successfully. It will take a few seconds. There we go. So this is a test wallet that I have connected here. Obviously, this is the list view. If we hide the filters, we can see a few more details. Obviously, now they're not relevant, but we meant for there to be a way where you can filter if you want. But if you don't filter, you can also see more details about tracing, etc.
The acceleration filter is fixed also.
Yeah.
And,
So
yeah, so if you open the acceleration, yeah, or color.
I'll head to that in a second. So the colors, we've added these. We realize it's difficult to navigate, so we'll make them into smaller sections. So we'll put all the chestnuts together, all the base together with small headers. But for now, this is supposed to work at least. And our testing has been good in that regard. Age, obviously, there's no point in testing as they're all the same age, and this is not meant to be the limit. And so on. Acceleration, Nick, you're saying?
Yeah, the filter works. So if you take it, let's say to 32 or something, just past 28. Yeah.
So
That's
the
it.
source is
That
36.
was the whole feature. But also they start from 0 to 100. At the beginning, they were starting from 0 to 9 for some reason.
Yeah.
So all of that was reported.
We got a question actually asking, is 100 going to be the limit? Because it's the limit here.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Quick answer. So the conditions are also don't really make sense now, but it's a filter that works as is. It counts them as false instead of non-activated, so that's to be fixed. We realize that as well. The gender swap.
Mare and
as well as-
Stallion are fixed. Yeah.
Fixed. So we reset the filters here. So this is one. We get to see the jockeys here. We have them by personality. So even when we have non-pioneer jockeys later on, you can still filter them by personality.
Yeah, rarity is like it's just a random number right now. So that
Rarity right now is just a hard-coded number. So this will be fixed to correctly show the combination rarity basically of this. Anyway, so that's the list view. And then if we go to the 3D view, for some very strange reason, I have not seen this bug before, but for some reason it's very pixelated. it's fixed now. Okay. Well, yeah, it's expected to be janky, as I said. A few small details that we're proud of. Number one is they are details, but if you see, for example, behind the window, you can see the trees and the fences for the paddocks. So these were added in later on, and you can see as we scroll through, you can kind of see behind. Anybody who has more than 3 horses would be able to scroll through, but it's a carousel, so it will take you through 12 horses and then back in circles. There, and this also works. Another small detail, but basically, if you can see, the animations are kind of made in a way where they're randomized and also not synchronized, so you can see it looking much more natural. There's still room to polish things, but first we need to make sure that things are working. So this is one. You can switch to, so this is a single horse page. So if I'm looking at a single horse here, I can go into the details. And again, these are not relevant until we start the game, but this shows you the career performance, shows you the training page where you can change your training. This is the breeding button. This is the big button that you can't undo. This is the pedigree. Obviously, pioneer horses don't have a pedigree because they're pioneers. This can be replaced with some graphic that says it's a pioneer horse, which is fancier. But this is a detail of what it would be for a non-pioneer horse which has pedigree. So you can see the parents and the grandparents if they have any, and then these should also be clickable, so you can click on a parent and go to that parent's page to see their status. So that's one thing. And then obviously the horse stats are here, including the gender and the color. If you go to the race stats, you're going to see how many races they've gone through. It's a typo here that should be capitalized and so on. The configurator is not released yet. So once this is released, it's coming soon. Once this is released, it's going to take you to, when you configure, it's going to take you to, let me actually close this. It's going to take you to another section of the scene. It's going to show you the horse with the jockey, whichever jockey is applied. And then you can change basically the skins and see what they look like over there if you want to preview. So that's the whole point of that. We're aware of an issue when you're on the main stable page, you're not looking at the horse, but the scene is looking at the horse. So we're going to change this in a way so that it actually looks somewhere else. If you can see over here, there's a statue outside. So we're probably going to keep the camera outside first until you go into the horses, and then you're going to see horse number 1, and then 2, and then 3. Because now when you're in the general stable page, it shouldn't be on a horse. So that's also a bug. So that shouldn't be the case. If we change to jockeys, it's going to take you to the jockey area here where we can change. But again, the same issue is it's showing the stable page instead of a specific jockey. So once that's fixed, it should take you to that place. And then you can switch to Faye. The change in the size of the screen is also a bug. This is not meant to happen, so we're aware of that as well and fixing that. But here you can see the jockeys while we're scrolling through. And it makes sense really to have skins previewable somewhere instead of only the configurator. But that would be for later. For now, we need these at least as main features. And then, if we go back, it takes us to a list view of jockeys. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I can address quickly a question from YouTube, from Cosmo Crypto. He says off topic, but still, that's a fun question. What's the difference between founder horses, so you mean pioneer horses, versus second generation horses? Basically, the pioneer horses, first of all, you can keep them non-activated for as long as you want before you actually activate them, so they don't start aging before you decide. And I am French. I'm French-Canadian. Sorry, that was a second question on YouTube. But basically, the difference is that when your pioneer horse dies, you get a token, and you can re-roll a random pioneer horse. And when this one dies, you can also re-roll another pioneer horses. So they're basically like a phoenix. They just resurrect into a random horse every time they die. So that's a huge difference between them and any offspring that you get, because all offsprings are one-off. Basically, they live their life and then they die and it's over. So pioneer horses have a big difference. That's the main difference.
Yeah, and yeah, by virtue of them being re-rolled is also the fact that they don't re-roll into the same horse. So there's also a, let's say, a chance of luck in some way, whereby no way with the normal, like through breeding, any breeder who has a very very top, let's say, stat horse would probably charge a premium for their offspring. Whereas if you have a pioneer horse and it's re-rolling, there's a chance of this horse re-rolling into something that has very high stats without you having to basically go through those measures. But there's a chance that it is also lower stats. So it's one or the other. But it's meant to be the perk. We didn't want to give them a competitive perk because we've known us being gamers for a few decades each. We know that this is something that would kill any competitive gaming if we give early adopters a competitive edge in terms of gameplay. That can't be. So this seemed to be a fair trade-off, basically, in a way. So this is a kind of a general preview of what this table should look like. This is live. This is online from our website. This is not really a demo from a dev environment. We did fix the course issue that popped up again. It reared its ugly head again yesterday. So that's been quashed and hopefully never to return. But we're aware of several other bugs, including that we realized some of the hair colors are not loading correctly on the horses. So we're also looking into that. We kind of know the answers to most of the issues, but they need a bit of time to just fix them one by one. So we appreciate you guys and your patience. The beta channel is gonna stay live. We're gonna keep taking feedback from everyone. We realize that Nami has had a certain issue that we haven't yet been able to reproduce. So we'll keep also looking into that to figure out what is the source of the issue. We've also had stories of Nami wallets that have worked and have connected with no issues. So yeah, that's a kind of a more general overview. So back the dark mode. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
I have a few questions that are fun.
Yeah. Just showing the dark mode. I got into dark mode by going into the profile here. We're gonna add more settings here. So when we add in the music and the sound effects, you're gonna, for example, select here whether you want them to be muted or to remain muted. A few other preferences and so on.
Someone said we should have just a little sun and moon icon to switch between light mode and dark mode in the top. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, of course. So we're gonna be looking
over
into
here.
That. Yeah. Escobar asked, "Can we expect accumulating the rewards from races and not carry a TX for every race?" That's actually very interesting, and I am in talking to my smart contract devs about that. I can't say yes or no yet. It might be a TX for every race, but hopefully there would be a way to build a bigger, smarter transaction that would take stuff out from multiple smart contracts at once. I'm looking into it. I would say it's a big issue for me too. All those things that, especially with hardware wallets, right, where it becomes extremely cumbersome to just try to carry out, let's say, 17 or 50 TX. Let's say you've got a lot of horses and they've all been racing, and now you've got so many things to try to get back. So for the first version, I cannot. I will tell you guys the moment I get a definite answer on that. And whatever happens, if it's a single TX for every race, for sure we'll be looking into trying to streamline that down as soon as possible after, when smart contracts either get an upgrade or when the reason that prevents us from doing that goes away, we'll fix it for sure. And then there was a second question that was fun. Is there any information which we can use to decide what jockey attributes complement certain horses better than others? I know that if you'd asked that in the Equine Discord, you would have gotten a lot of answer from the community, but let me just go over it quickly. Basically, the mental stats of your horse are hidden. We did that for fun. So what you're going to do is you're going to be looking at your races with your horse, and we describe the mental stats. So you can look at the behavior of your horse in the race and try to figure out a bit his mental stats. And then what you do is you try to get a jockey that complements or fixes a shortcoming or just boosts one of the mental stats that you think would lead to better behavior from your horse. So you can do that through experience. Basically, you're going to look at your horse race and you're going to figure that out yourself. Hopefully that makes it fun. We made the physical stats known to not have all the game be guesswork. We wanted some of this to be more like a game that you can just look at the numbers and kind of make it a clean analysis of it. But we wanted to keep some of it a bit more like real life, a bit more challenging, a bit more like you have to see the horse race and kind of figure out what it's good at. So that's the balance we tried to reach, basically.
Thanks. There's a point here from Aero Creator, also about Pioneers started as 2 years old, so they're ready to race. Second generation would always need to wait 2 years or 2 months in real life until they can race. So that's one of the perks of Pioneer horses, that they're always ready to race. If you reroll them immediately, you're gonna get a chance to get in instead of having to wait for a new one to be born or to buy one that's already born, but it's still a wait, technically speaking. So thanks for that. Anyone who's still having challenges connecting, we'd really appreciate you sharing a bit more detail, especially a screenshot of the console screen from the browser and a bit more detail about the setup. We realize that some have had more success with the 3D scene with stronger PCs or more powerful PCs. That's not meant to be the design. It's meant to be accessible to any browser. So we'll also look into that. It's not really meant to be. So if it doesn't work on your device, it would be good to know kind of your basic specs, at least, so that we know where the limitation is. And we'll also look into it from our side, even without that data. But that's an overview. So we're looking at number one, fixing all issues. Number two, after resolving all the common issues, at least, and the larger ones, we'll move on to releasing or rolling out the feature of the configurator, which is the skill previews. There's a question, in what Discord should you share the screenshot? We have a beta test channel under equine discussion, under the main channel. So if you have access to the Discord, if you've already been verified, you should have access to that. That would be the most, let's say, suitable place to that. There's a question which comes right in time. Any announcement on Underground Invitation? So I'm passing on the mic to Marek, who's been patiently waiting for his part. Thank you.
Sure. And before I jump into that, one more thing, because I've been fighting a little bit with connecting to the website. For those who couldn't and want to try again now after the fixes, make sure to clear all your cookies and all the cache for the site, because that was also an issue for me. That was just loading the old version and I couldn't connect, and now it works. So do try that. Yeah, in terms of the announcements for the marketing, so related activities, let me start with saying that we aim to send, we had a bunch of digital prizes and assets connected to the CNFTCon for people who want them in our crane machine, or those who, for example, bought the plushie will get a skin. We had some posters, we had some horses, etc. We will start sending them next week. Sorry, it took a bit longer, but we wanted to make sure we have the right list in place. There will be kind of two separate activities, because the skins, horses, and jockeys will be sent manually. So it might be a separate kind of transaction, while the queen skins and the posters will be minted directly to the address list by Nick. So don't be surprised if you get one and not another. If you were expecting to get both, it will come in the next days. And then for the invitational, indeed, we will have next week our October Spooky Invitational. Halloween is coming, so we wanted to make it a bit fun and a bit silly, because why not? We will do a bit different event this time, because we'll have 4 classes, 4 separate classes in one event, but we'll have less competitors in each class. So we'll have 16 per class, which means that we'll be basically in the finale next weekend. We'll only have like a semi-final and a final for each. We'll still have prizes for winners in each class. I will share details on the Discord, but like different days we'll have a different classes qualifiers. We will allow each person to do maximum 2 entries, so 2 classes. So you cannot enter 4 classes, you can only enter in 2 classes. And there will be an extra competition, because we want to make it a bit Halloween themed and fun. So we'll ask all the participants to find some spooky names for their horses, and then we will do some kind of contest or a raffle for those who rename their horses for the Halloween for an extra prize. We'll talk about the details later. The final will be kind of the same town as we have the town hall, just next Sunday. And yeah, I think that covers this. As I said, I will share all the exact details on the Discord as usual after this town hall.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. I hope you guys all enjoyed the town hall and the updates. Once again, thank you all for your patience with the beta testing on Stables. We are working to resolve any outstanding issues, as well as building what's to come next. Thank you for joining us on this journey and for always being very supportive. We appreciate you all and look forward to seeing you in the next town hall.